Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I'm your most favorite manifestation coach under the sun. Reason why there's no such coaching program like my coaching program anywhere on the internet. I've designed it for the last 8 years that I've been coaching all sorts of people. And I've designed it in a way that you never need another coach again. I go through everything in my coaching, starting with your background, how you grew up, your siblings, your parents, well into adolescence, all the way up until today, in order to understand who is in my coaching, what kinds of beliefs you hold, what kinds of experiences affected you. And then and only then do I proceed to do some exercises for you to release that, and then work on the manifestation techniques and establishing the new you who would then be the magician of manifestation in your life. It's a very thorough process. I correspond with all of my clients 2 to 3 times per week, scheduling permitted, whether that's audio exchange. The packages are below. All the information is below on my website. Audio exchange is one package, Zoom sessions is another, as well as telephone sessions. Now, everything is recorded in my coaching because I need to listen to it more than once. I take extensive notes after each and every single one of my clients, and I spend at least 2 hours on each of them because I want to listen to it. I want to jot down my notes. I want to think about what I'm going to speak with you at the next session. Each session, Zoom session and telephone session, lasts an hour. I usually do go over. I'm very generous with my time. The audios have to be 20-minute max. My reply to your audio usually does go over that mark. Sometimes it has been as long as an hour. I won't lie. I get very passionate about my client. Recently, I also included a speed course for a month, and that is basically a very intense coaching program, because you're doing in a month what usually takes people 2 to 3 months in my coaching, which I recommend to spend in my coaching. You don't need to purchase all the 3 months at once. You can go month to month. But basically, this course is for somebody who is advanced, who either is well, into the manifestation game, just needs to understand how to do it correctly. I can teach you everything I know, all the tools I have, all the tricks and in my treasure box, okay? I do require that you show up to coaching to work. It's very important. The coach can only instruct you and guide you and suggest, but you have to show up and do the work. Coaching is not just blah, 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 okay? This is not therapy, even though I do have similar techniques, but it is not therapy. We're not going to blah, blah, blah till the end of time about problems. Okay, this is why people who get into therapy usually don't really accomplish much, because there is no kind of suggestion, there's no guidance, unless you meet a really exceptional therapist who guides you, okay? But usually they're not allowed to. In essence, you need to show up prepared to work, with an open mind, willing to welcome new ideas and take feedback. I'm very brutally honest in my coaching, and that is because I don't want you to spend long periods of time in coaching where you can accomplish a lot by just addressing the truth and replacing it with what it is you want. And so if you show up to work, if you understand this is not meant to go on forever, you need to concentrate that this is an investment, not only monetarily, but it's also an investment of effort, okay? If you don't invest in yourself, I cannot really help you. If you don't show up prepared to work, I cannot help you. It's kind of like paying for a gym membership and never showing up to work out, okay? It's a tremendously good investment if you understand what the coaching is about. It's about relinquishing all old ideas, old ways, old beliefs, and finally creating a new future, a new magic in your life, a new persona, a new personality with different reality, creating a different world for yourself. And so if you're one of these people who is frustrated, I can help you. You can book me for an hour first. If you want to make sure that we are a good match, all the information again is below, and then book the monthly. But you really need to show up committed and prepared to work. Again, I cannot do your push-ups for you. The subject of today is turning any situation, in parentheses, with your SP to your advantage. Why in parentheses? Because you can put anything there that you like, turning any situation in your job to your advantage, turning any situation with your money to your advantage, etc., etc. Essentially, turning any situation to your advantage. I've done this numerous times in my life. In the most dire of situations, in the most kind of like restricted periods of time, overnight, in the same day, within days, etc., etc. And this requires, quite frankly, becoming on purpose, becoming committed again to your manifestations. Just like you need to be committed in your coaching, you need to become committed in your life. Okay, so if right now you're in a situation where seemingly things are against you, your SP is not with you, or you need that money to show up immediately, or you need something to turn around in your favor, or you need to get that interview, you need to have your boss do something for you, etc., etc. It really helps to understand that this world is not real. Okay, let's get esoteric here, because there's no other way for me to explain it. This world is a cartoon where everything is stationary. The 3D is not real. The kind of like the perception of it is real. The experience of it is real. But in actuality, it isn't real. It doesn't actually exist. It's just a dream, you can say. It's a projection of your consciousness. It's an illusion, all sorts of things. I like to think of it as a cartoon. Okay, because it just kind of like makes it easy to think of different things other than the ones that are in front of you right now. And so the best acquired skill of any successful person in manifestation, and thus in real life, obviously, in everyday life, is this: delusion. A healthy kind of delusion where I ignore the 3D, as a lot of people like to say. I ignore what's in front of me. I understand what's presented in front of me, but my job as a creator is then to acknowledge what's in front of me and then change it. Just like, again, in coaching, you acknowledge what you have thus far. You need to be truthful about it. Okay, this is what the fuck I'm dealing with, but now I need to change it. Okay, if you are delusional in that you don't even want to look at what you have, that's not the kind of delusion I am working with here. No, delusion as in I understand what I see, I am truthful about it. Now I'm going to go into my delusion and I will overlay the preferred reality over the situation. So the situation in front of me will completely morph to what I want to have in front of me. And again, cannot stress this enough. If you don't know the facts, you can't change things, okay? You can't change anything. In other words, if your SP is a womanizer, okay, you have to kind of like understand that he is a womanizer. Or if your SP is a narcissist, quote unquote, you need to understand that that person has narcissistic tendencies and this and that. If your SP isn't showing up in a relationship, you need to understand that that's the truth of the situation. If your bank account doesn't have any money in it, you need to understand that that's the truth of the situation. All right, now what you want. I want my SP to be faithful and loyal to me. I want my SP to be completely vulnerable, completely accommodating, turning into an empath, okay? And not for nothing, but I've done this in my coaching, okay? Not to brag, but I've done this many different ways. Any quote-unquote narcissist can change, and I have a video about that on my channel. I want my bank account to suddenly fill up with all this money, clients to show up with out of nowhere seemingly a new promotion overnight, or my boss calls me and gives me that something that I want, or the situation completely just morphs. And here's how you do it. The delusion, the healthy delusion, comes with a certain world. You're stepping into that world where this situation already is playing out exactly the way that you want. The person that was against you suddenly turns for you. You don't give a shit how, why, what smacked them in the head. This person who was a womanizer suddenly becomes faithful and loyal. Now, what happened? Did this person change? No, you've stepped into a different world with your delusion by becoming this superhuman, okay, by allowing yourself this superpower of ignoring and not really buying into fully, like I said, this world is a cartoon, not really buying into this is the end of the story and that's all I'm dealing with. No, I can morph this story to my preference, okay? And the radiation of this world comes from you. Okay, I can get more esoteric that it's coming from your heart and you surrounded by the 360 bubble, and that's all there is. Your energy is all there is. And so there have been times in my life where I literally turned things around that supposedly people told me, my lawyers told me, people who, well qualified of their opinion told me, Anna, this is impossible. Anna, this is going to not go your way. And I was like, in one ear, out the other. Okay. Now, I understood the situation, but I wanted things my way. And so again, you need to be educated about what it is you're dealing with right now and choose what it is you want precisely to change. Okay, whatever your situation is right now, only you know. So what would that be? What would that something be right now that would need to change completely in your that would turn the situation around in your favor? What would that something be? It could be something very small. It could just be the thought transmission to that person and suddenly telling them, no, my darling, we're doing it this way. And you know that this is the right thing to do. Okay, maybe somebody wronged you. Maybe somebody betrayed you. Maybe somebody owes you money. I don't know. You telegraph to them telepathically, listen, this is how it's going to go because I've just decided. I made a decision. Okay, I understand the situation is like this and like that, and you've been acting like this and like that. But here's the deal. I've just decided that from here on, this is the law of the land. You're going to conduct yourself in this manner. So this is the change that you really need to zero in on, like laser sharp focus in any dire situation, in any like catastrophic, okay, in quotations situation. There is an opportunity that if you fix it, if you turn it around in your favor, it will give you so many different gifts, okay? I don't know how else to say it. Universe is truly amazing. Out of any problem, seeming problem, comes so many opportunities that if that problem didn't exist before, first of all, you wouldn't evolve as a manifestor, master manifestor. And I don't know, and you would not create all this abundance in your life. And like looking back on it, you would be like, holy shit, bananas. I am so grateful that I had that problem in the past because otherwise this wouldn't have happened and that wouldn't have happened and this and any other. In other words, this problem that you're presented with right now is a treasure box. It really, you need to treat it as such. So when you stop fearing, when you stop kind of like freaking out about it, and you look at the facts and you're like, okay, what am I changing right now? What exactly needs to change? It might be, like I said, a tiny detail that needs to change, and all of a sudden everything's turning around. But when you're freaking out, you cannot think logically like that, right? So you need to really, again, not take this reality so seriously. And so when you start understanding what needs to change for you to start feeling better, if that situation suddenly turned around like this and like that, how would you be feeling? Okay. And so this feeling and imagination, of course, Neville Goddard talks ad nauseum about it. Imagination and the feeling are very tied into this, but I would call it more. I would go beyond it. It's a world you step into. Imagination is fantastic. Feeling is fantastic, but it's a different fucking world. If you give yourself permission to understand it's a different world made of your decisions, and if you just decided that this person is going to act accordingly to your wish, if you just decided that this problem actually serves you, if you just decided that your SP suddenly got into their head to treat you like a princess or a queen at that, if you just decided that USP got sick and tired of his womanizing behaviors, and every woman treated him like shit, and they suddenly realized in their head, oh my god, I better treat this woman like a queen because she's tolerated my shenanigans and there's no other woman like her, and for the rest of my fucking life I will lick gem of her toes. Then that is what is going to start playing out. Parenthesis here, disclaimer, you are going to have to buy into it for it to start playing out. You're the only person that you need to convince of this. So as long as you believe it, it's going to start changing. If you don't believe it, nothing's going to change. You need to massage yourself in thinking, yes, this is exactly what's happening, without any doubts, making these decisions without zero doubts, like zero doubts. Okay, being in charge, like the CEO of your life. I said so, I've signed off on this, the end. Okay, it's irreversible. This is the law of the land, just like I said. And so this vibration, you need to let it wash over you, of this calm and peace. It will come over you like feeling the solution versus the problem. It's diametrically opposed. Okay, you know the scale of the emotions and all, I'm not going to list them, but essentially on top there's euphoria and love. On the bottom there's fear. Fear is the lowest vibration. So if you're operating from fear or from anguish or whatever the fuck it is, you are not going to change anything. You're going to just view the same parallel reality over and over again, which is commensurate to that feeling. Now, if you switch to love and euphoria with your delusion, okay, by feeling the solution, even though it's not apparent to you right now in the 3D, but you're feeling what that would be like, and you've decided that it's going to show up, and you don't know how, you don't care. You believe in the magic of the universe. You believe in the magic of your decision. You believe in the magic of your magicianship, okay? So let that feeling wash over you. And this represents the portal to this world. All of a sudden, I don't know what happens. It's like the colors are brighter and your mood is lighter. And you, even though nothing tells you on the outside that the solution is here, you feel it. You can feel the solution. You know it's about to drop in your lap. It's just every person in your world has just received a message that, hello, how are you? Good morning. This is the motherfucking program. So start acting accordingly. And so it becomes then that you're fleshing out this world. Even so, here's my way of imagining, okay? And I'm going to give you this, even though I teach this in my coaching, I'm going to give you this. And if you understand it, great. A lot of people struggle with imagination, and I think it's for this reason, because they're forcing it, because they're forcing themselves to imagine something, and it's so unnatural to them. Now, but if you step into that realm and that world and suspend your disbelief and allow yourself to start seeing that movie, that world, where yes, your bank account looks like this, yes, that person turned around, yes, the decision is in your favor, yes, it's all encompassing. It's a different world, and therefore you tapping into that world, to that vibration, and therefore imagining all of these things is not a problem. It's a different movie, it's a different world. And so buying into, it's like when you're watching a real movie, okay, on TV or whatever, you don't question if that's true. You're buying into this world that the director presents to you. You have reactions, emotional reactions towards it, etc. It's exactly like that. And so imagination is fleshing out that world. It will come to you. It's not like you're forcing it. You go with your antenna to that feeling, and the imagination of that world will start pouring through your mind. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the easiest way to imagine, because if you have a feeling about something, you start imagining easier rather than coming from the fear and forcing yourself to imagine something that doesn't resonate with that feeling. Because if you're vibrating in euphoria and love, and appreciation and anticipation of something extraordinary happening to you, something magical and miraculous, completely left speechless about it and seemingly without being able to explain it. Well, nothing, you can not explain anything other than you're creating different realities. If you're vibrating from that premise, it's easy for you to imagine that your SP changed. It's easy for you to imagine your SP came back. It's easy for you to imagine that all of a sudden your bank account is full of money, because that's the vibration of that world, and your mind is an antenna, and you're downloading those images. You're downloading all of that. So instead of trying to visualize or imagine or force yourself and this and that, get on the vibration that is really high by feeling the solution. What needs to change right now so I can feel much better? And once you get rolling on this feeling, another vibration that's similar to that, like, will take you even higher. Well, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? And in a very short period of time, meaning all of these vibrations of love, euphoria, excitement, being complete, being at peace, they're going to start creating this 360 bubble around you, and all of a sudden manifestations will start popping in. Maybe small ones at first. Somebody's going to call you, hey, I have that money for you that I owe you. Oh, holy shit, bananas, thank you, I thought you'd never fucking call. Hey, somebody like gifted you something out of the blue, seemingly, again. Hey, your SP is going to call you. They haven't called you in years. Hey, this, hey, that, you know. And all that you did is you switched to a new vibration, a vibration of solution, a vibration of I'm turning this shit around. But again, you cannot do it from a desperation. You cannot do it from fear. Another technique, and I'm going to leave you with this, eavesdropping on the parallel reality, okay? If imagination is challenging for you, you can utilize the kind of like what you're going to be hearing. The conversation with that person, the conversations, maybe you can even hear thoughts, but we'll leave it for another video / audio. Hearing what the person will say to you. Overhearing a conversation. Okay, eavesdropping on that parallel reality, kind of like a radio, and making it crystal clear. This is exactly what I will hear. This is what the conversation will be. If it's a telephone conversation, it's like the telephone technique with Neville Goddard, or, you know, face to face, or you can hear people's thoughts, meaning you give them the thoughts. Okay, if you want anybody to think something, you give them the thoughts. This works mega great, and it's kind of scary how it works. But essentially, you're eavesdropping on that parallel reality in which you understand that the solution is already present. And what is left to do after you did that? You need to know the change has occurred. There's nothing else to really do other than follow your inspiration. Do your best work, whatever it is you're doing. Enjoy your day. And enjoy the fruits of your quote-unquote labor, just in knowing that it's at your door, knowing it's just about to drop in your lap. It's just minimal time that it will take, because you've now shifted, you've committed yourself to a new world. And as long as you stay there, like Neville Goddard says again, there's no power in the world that can stop it from becoming so. There's just literally none. Zero. And lastly, I would say this, get familiar with that world. Once you get a taste of it, get familiar with that world and stay there always. I mean, you can once in a while fall off the proverbial wagon and all this stuff. Everybody does it, even I do it. But the thing is, get familiar with that vibration so that in times like these, whenever you need a fix, you can be like, oh yeah, I know how it feels. And then massage yourself into it. It will take a meditation. It will take an hour or something like this. But then you're like, oh yeah, I'm there. And now the solutions, they come. Thank you very much for listening. All the information from me is again below. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.